The young recruit stood nervously at the gates of the world's most elite military base, a sprawling compound nestled deep in the mountains, hidden from the eyes of the public. It wasn't just any base. It was where the best of the best were forged. Navy SEALs, the ones who ran the most secretive, dangerous missions, trained and tested here. Her name was Emma Carter. She was just 22, fresh out of boot camp, and though her uniform was crisp and clean, her heart pounded with doubt. She had been told her whole life that women didn't belong in combat. She had been told that her dreams of becoming a SEAL were too big, too impossible. But here she was, standing at the threshold of something far greater than she had ever imagined. Emma had worked tirelessly to get here, pushing through the doubts of her peers and even her superiors. But what truly set her apart wasn't her physical strength, it was something far deeper. It was her ability to see people, to truly understand their fears, hopes, and desires. Where others saw competition, Emma saw opportunity for collaboration. Where others saw obstacles, Emma saw solutions. When she arrived at the gates that morning, however, she was greeted by an expressionless sergeant. "Name." The sergeant barked. "Emma Carter," she said quietly. The sergeant looked at his clipboard, then up at her. He didn't even flinch at her name. "Sorry, recruit, we're not letting you in. You've got the wrong base." Emma's chest tightened. She had heard rumors that there was a special kind of test, a hidden challenge that separated the worthy from the unworthy. It wasn't just about the physical grind, it was about something else, something that couldn't be measured by any set of standards. But here she was, being sent away without even a chance to prove herself. She began, but the sergeant cut her off. "No room for mistakes, Carter. You're not here to lead, you're here to follow. Go back to where you came from." Emma's heart sank. She had worked her whole life for this moment. She had trained, bled, and sacrificed everything. And yet, here she was, standing on the outside, as if all of that was meaningless. But Emma wasn't one to give up easily. She squared her shoulders and looked the sergeant in the eye. "I may not have the rank yet, but I know this base better than anyone. I've been training in the simulations, working with your team in the shadows for years. You don't know what I'm capable of." The sergeant didn't flinch. His gaze was cold, indifferent. He turned his back to her, dismissing her completely. But that moment, something shifted inside Emma. This was her chance. Not just to prove herself, but to show them all what true leadership meant. The SEALs were known for their grit, their endurance, their toughness. But the world's greatest warriors didn't just rely on strength. They relied on their ability to connect, to understand one another, to push through not just for themselves but for the team. She turned and walked away. She didn't know what she was going to do next, but she wasn't going to let this be the end. 2 days later, Emma found herself on the edge of a rugged cliff, staring out at the ocean. The sun was setting, casting an orange glow across the water, but she couldn't shake the weight of the defeat she had felt. The sergeant's words echoed in her head. "You're not here to lead." But deep inside, Emma knew she had the power to change the course of everything. She just had to find a way in. As she stood there, lost in thought, a voice interrupted her. "Hey, you okay?" She turned, startled, and saw a familiar face, the man who had first introduced her to the world of SEALs during her early training. Sergeant Major Ross. He was older now, with gray streaks in his beard and the hard look of someone who had seen too many battles. Emma hesitated, but Ross wasn't having it. "Don't lie to me, Carter. What's really going on?" Emma shook her head. She was exhausted, mentally and physically. She had pushed herself so hard for this, and yet, nothing seemed to be working. "They won't let me in. I'm not good enough. Not tough enough. I don't belong here," she admitted. Ross took a deep breath, as if weighing his words carefully. "You think it's just about being tough. You think this place is just about the hardest, fastest, strongest. You've been training for years, Emma. But you missed the part that really matters." Emma looked at him, confused. "Leadership, Carter. The best leaders aren't the strongest, they're the ones who understand others. They know how to support their team, to lift them when they fall. They know how to fight with compassion, not just strength. That's why they don't let you in yet." Emma was taken aback. She had never thought of leadership in that way before. It wasn't about proving her worth. It was about helping others find their strength, about guiding them when they were lost. Ross smiled faintly, as if he knew exactly what she was thinking. Come on, let's get you back to the base. It's time to show them what you're really made of. The next day, Emma was back at the gates, but this time, she wasn't there to argue or fight. She was there to listen, to understand, and to prove that there was more to leadership than just being the fastest or the strongest. She walked up to the sergeant and asked for the one thing she knew would make all the difference. I want to train with your team. Not as a recruit, but as someone who's there to help. Let me show you what I can do. The sergeant, who had once turned her away, paused for a moment before nodding slowly. All right, but don't expect to be treated like everyone else. We'll see if you can really handle it. In the weeks that followed, Emma trained like never before. But instead of focusing on outshining her teammates, she focused on their strengths, helping them when they stumbled, lifting them up when they faltered. And slowly but surely, she began to see changes in her team. Her kindness and selflessness created a bond stronger than any physical test. The recruits, once skeptical, began to respect her not just for her skill, but for her ability to understand and guide them. One day, the team was faced with a grueling obstacle course that seemed impossible to complete. The others had begun to lose hope, their spirits dampened by the daunting challenge. But Emma saw an opportunity, not to prove herself, but to prove the power of a team united. She gathered everyone together and gave them a simple, heartfelt speech. We don't need to be perfect. We don't need to be the fastest or the strongest. We just need to work together. If one of us falls, we pick them up. If one of us gets lost, we guide them back. We're not just a team, we're a family. With renewed energy, the team pushed through, supporting each other every step of the way. By the time they reached the finish line, they had completed the course faster than anyone had expected, together. Months later, Emma stood at the gates of the SEAL base once more, but this time, she wasn't a recruit. She had earned her place among the best, not because she was the toughest, but because she had learned to lead with heart. When the sergeant saw her, he gave a rare nod of approval. You've proven yourself, Carter. Not just as a soldier, but as a leader. Emma smiled, grateful for the journey that had brought her here. She had always known that there was power in kindness, in understanding, and in lifting others up. And now, she was ready to lead the world's best, because sometimes, the greatest strength lies in what we give to others, not in what we take for ourselves. In the end, Emma Carter didn't just join the Navy SEALs. She changed what it meant to lead. She showed the world that true strength wasn't measured by speed, strength, or rank. It was measured by the ability to connect, to inspire, and to uplift others. And that was a power far greater than any physical feat could ever be.